Hey guys, what's up? It's iFlynn here, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to farm Ember in Warframe. Now, at this point in the game, you should have access to corrupted mods. As you hit Saturn, one of the junction requirements is to actually go out of your way to get corrupted mods in the vault in the Orc and Derelict missions. So I have that covered in my Ultimate Beginner's Guide series that I made last year, so you can go check it out in there. But basically, corrupted mods are mods that give you a positive stat in trade-off for a negative stat. So for example, it'll give you like 99% power strength for negative 55% power efficiency, meaning the ability is going to be more powerful, but it's also going to cost a lot more, if that makes any sense. So with that being said, the next couple of how to farm videos are going to include corrupted mods and more completed builds to make things a lot easier for yourself, and just to give you a general idea of how to play the frames that you're going to be playing in these missions, basically like a better understanding, right? So for example, we farmed Nova in the last episode of How to Farm, so you're going to be using Nova in this video to make this boss fight a lot easier. It's kind of funny how that works. You farm up the frame and then you use it in the next fight to make it a lot easier, and you're going to notice that trend quite a bit, like you're just farming a frame to kind of make another boss easy. It just kind of all works, kind of. So here we go. We're taking a look at the build. So the build for Nova is basically a power strength build. Now, you could mod this a little bit differently. Just I like to mod it this way for usability's sake. This is not like your final Nova build, but this is the build that I would recommend to newer players because it's, in my opinion, one of the most accessible builds, which doesn't have many downsides to it. Like, for example, the power strength buff that I recommended or spoke about at the beginning of the video, that's actually a mod called Blind Rage, and using that on this build, sure, it would make the effects of your abilities a lot better, but, you know, being able to cast it is also very important as well. So at this point in the game, you don't have a lot of ways to get energy back, so that's something important to keep in mind whenever you're recommending builds to newer players and stuff like that. So we have basically a lot of duration on here because her fourth ability scales off duration, basically how much of the map it covers. And with the fourth ability, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using it to slow down all of the enemies. She's like a crowd control frame. So you mod for power strength, and usually you'd be aiming for 145 per strength, but because we're newer players, we're only getting 130 because of Intensify. So we're throwing on Intensify, and then the rest goes into duration, so it covers a wider area. So all the enemies that are in the same room as us are basically going to be slowing down, okay? So Continuity, Narrow-Minded, Constitution, Augur Message, these should all be mods that you're able to get, and these basically just add to your duration. Intensify adds to your strength, and then the rest is just quality of life, Vitality for more health, Flow for more energy, Streamline for more power efficiency. It's pretty straightforward, and if you have it, Energy Siphon to regen energy at 0.6 per second, which is, you know, it's fine. And then moving on, we have our Heck build, which is the weapon that we're going to be using here. It's more or less the same, just the mods are upgraded because I do expect players to kind of be upgrading mods at this point in the game. Charge Shell, Contagious Spread for the corrosive damage, Point Blank for your main damage, Blaze for fire damage and heat damage, you get that from Nightmare missions, and Scattered Justice for more multi-shot, which you get from your Steel Meridian Syndicate, which makes this weapon 10 times better than it already is, okay? So with that being said, that's basically the setup that you need to farm Ember. Pretty straightforward setup. And if we move on, next thing we'll have to do is go up here, type in Ember, purchase the blueprint by clicking this little item right here, purchase blueprint for 25,000, and then we have to go out of our way to get the Ember Neuroptics Chassis and Systems blueprint from farming the boss on Saturn, right? So he's a pretty straightforward boss, and like I said, just bringing Nova is going to make this 10 times easier. So we go to Tethys, and we start the mission, and I'm just going to show you guys how to do the boss. Now, this boss is going to take a little while. This is also like a really good way to farm Orc cells as well. So this is going to be a boss that you may want to run a lot as a newer player. So just kind of seeing this method. Also, my carrier is here, which isn't colored properly. That's a little bit triggering, but you can see we're one-shotting the enemies pretty much here. The biggest downside to running this setup, or I guess just this setup in general as a newer player, is you're not going to be able to regen energy that well unless you have Energy Siphon, right? So you have Energy Siphon, which is giving you that energy back, but be that at a very, very slow rate. So you want to make sure that you're not wasting your energy, so be very conservative with it. Just run past all the enemies here. Don't bother using your abilities. Just save it for the actual fight itself, and then kill any enemies before you go into the fight. So this is the room right here. You'll notice it's the same room every single time. Try to keep as much health as possible. And then here is the guy right here. What you want to do, jump here, use your 4, kill anyone that's around you, and then just focus on the boss. Now you are going to get Noxus spawning in. Noxus, you have to break the glass to kind of shoot their head to kill them. Other than that, they're pretty, you know, pretty straightforward enemies to kill. Just shoot them in the face. Shoot them in the face. It's really that simple. And then kill anyone else around you. And what you're waiting for is this guy to use his flamethrower enough. So it has to cool down, right? So he's going to open this vent on his arm. You're going to shoot that, and that's how you're going to deal damage to him. So just let him kind of plop around and do what he has to do to kind of, like, you know, overheat his weapon. And then go ahead and shoot him. Just kill all the ads that are around on using your 4 to kind of slow the enemies down. You can make the argument that using your 4 will slow down the process of the fight, but in my opinion, it's all about being better safe than sorry, right? So realistically, you can use any frame for this fight, but I just like bringing the one that has like the most CC. So you could bring like an Avalanche Frost, you could bring a Radio Blind Excalibur, and you'd more or less build the 2 of those in the same way. But as you can see, now that we broke his arm, we move on to his chest. So we just have to shoot his chest. So he's going to do this different move, and that's going to make his chest overheat like more or less straight away. So just let him do that there a bunch of times, and then it's pretty straightforward. So there's his chest open again. Just go ahead and shoot it. And then he does this big kind of grind slam fire thing. Chest opens again. Shoot that again. Pretty straightforward. And now we move on to his back. Shoot his back. And he's going to do an even more devastating ability, which is kind of like World on Fire, which is Ember's 4th ability, where fire just comes up from the floor, but because you have Vitality on, it doesn't really matter that much. Just try not to get heat procced too much, and then just put the final nail in the coffin. Shoot him in the back one more time, and the man's is dead. So, yeah. Bring any CC frame, Frost, Excalibur, Vault, you know, anything. They all have good CC. You just want to be building for range, duration, efficiency. So that's like continuity, stretch, streamline, fleeting, overextend it, etc. Stuff like that. And then that'll make this boss fight very, very easy as well, because you're just going to be able to completely, like, you know, stop enemies from moving because of those abilities. But I just thought, hey, let's bring Nova to slow down the boss to kind of demonstrate it and stuff like that. He's a pretty straightforward boss. And like I said, you can also farm Orc and Cells from him as well. So, yeah, that is pretty much it. And as you can see, we get ourselves the Ember Prime Systems, or not Ember Prime Systems, but the regular Ember Systems, which is a 28% drop chance. And then the Neuroptics and the Chassis share the same drop chance of 32%. So we got the rarest part on our first run there, which is pretty awesome. And yeah, and so now we take this part, and we take the Neuroptics and the Chassis, go down to our Foundry, which is in here, and then go to Warframes, type in Ember, like so, and then we build our Chassis, Neuroptics, Systems, and then put them together using the Ember blueprint that we bought from the market earlier on in the video. But if you guys want to see a build that focuses around the CC for like Excalibur and stuff like that, so let's just go ahead and put one together real fast. So you pretty much build all the stuff in the same way. So let's just go ahead and throw on the right versions. We'd throw on, I don't know why I took off Vitality. Vitality is very important. Vitality, regular continuity, if you have it at this point. And then Stretch, Streamline, Intensify. If you have, Fleeting might be nice, so you can spam it a little bit more. It costs a lot less energy, but that's obviously if you want that. So less energy, but less duration, so you'd have to spam it more anyway. Constitution, so the enemy stays stunned for longer. Augur Message, so they stay stunned for longer. And if you have it, also overextend it, so it covers more range with your Radio Blind. So let's see if I can find it. So there you go. Of course, that's a mismatch in polarity. That's never really good, but, you know, just for demonstration purposes, this is the type of build that you'd be throwing together. Intensify on a CC build usually isn't needed unless you're building for something specific, but in general, continuity, duration, and range is what you're looking for whenever it comes to building for a CC frame on pretty much any frame. So Frost, Excalibur, Vault, etc. You could even maybe make an argument for Mag as well if you're bringing Mag in here. Like her 4th ability is pretty CC strong as well. So yeah, Other than that, that is pretty much it for the video, guys. If you have any other questions about kind of killing Sargas Ruck and how to farm it more efficiently and stuff like that, leave it in the comment section below. But if you like the video, go ahead, hit like. If you dislike it, dislike it. And subscribe for more Warframe content. And I'll see you guys in the next video.